All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about a term that sounds like some super complex crypto speak: real world assets, or RWAs. But you're going to want to stick around for this because this isn't just jargon. Nope. It's a quiet revolution that's literally taking everything of value from your house to your stocks and putting it on the blockchain. So, yeah, let's dive in. So, first off, let's just talk about how big this is. This is not some tiny little experiment happening in a corner of the internet. The market for real world assets right now is worth a whopping $53.3 billion. That is billion with a B. It's this massive financial shift happening, right under our noses. And honestly, it's just getting warmed up. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what in the world are these things really? And maybe more importantly, who is pouring billions of dollars into a space that, let's face it, most people haven't even heard of yet? Well, get ready because we're about to go from what on earth to oh my gosh in just a few minutes. Okay, let's break it all down. I promise, no crazy charts, no confusing code. We're just going to do a simple, straightforward explanation of what a real-world asset is and how it gets its own digital identity. It's actually pretty cool. At its heart, this is incredibly simple. A real-world asset is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an asset from the real physical world. We're talking about stuff you can actually see and touch, like a building, a bar of gold, a classic car, or even a famous painting. Basically, anything that has real value, but off the blockchain. So, how do you take something from the real world and put it on the blockchain? It's a process, and it's called tokenization. So first, you pick an asset, right? Let's say it's a huge office building. Then you create a digital token on a blockchain. Now, think of this token like a digital deed. It legally represents ownership of that building. And once you have that token, boom, it can be bought, sold, or traded 24/7, just like Bitcoin or any other crypto. Now, if you're thinking this is all just for crypto nerds in their basements, you got to think again. The biggest players in traditional finance, the folks in suits who manage trillions of dollars, they haven't just been watching. Oh no. They've pulled up a chair and they are sitting right at the main table. So who exactly are these giants, these titans of finance, that are quietly moving billions into tokenization? Any guesses? Let me give you a hint. These are names you'd recognize from your retirement statement, not just from some random crypto forum. And there you have it: BlackRock, Fidelity, Janus Henderson, Franklin Templeton. I mean, these aren't just Wall Street giants, they practically built the place. And they're not just, dipping a toe in the water. They are launching massive multi-million and even billion-dollar tokenized funds directly on the blockchain. So forget everything you've heard. The institutions aren't coming. They're already here. But it's not just about these super complex financial funds for institutions. The variety of stuff being turned into tokens it's just mind-blowing. We're talking about some of the most famous and valuable assets on the entire planet. Just look at this. The diversity here is what's so incredible. You can own a token like Pax Gold that's backed by a real, actual gold bar sitting in a vault somewhere. Or how about a token that represents a single share of Tesla? Or maybe one that tracks the S&P 500. Even US Treasury bills are getting tokenized. It's literally your world, but on-chain. Okay, so the tech is cool, the big players are in, but why should you care? Why does this matter to the average person? Because this is about so much more than just making trading more efficient for banks. This is about completely changing who gets to own what. It's about democratizing ownership for everyone. So here's the real game changer: fractional ownership. It means you don't need millions of dollars to invest in a skyscraper anymore. You can buy a single token that represents, say, 1 square foot of it. This creates liquidity, which is a fancy way of saying things that used to be really hard to sell, like fine art, can now be traded instantly. And the whole thing is faster, cheaper, and way more transparent than the old system. This is all about opening doors to wealth that, for most of us, were always locked. And hey, don't just take my word for it. CoinGecko, which is our source for this explainer, puts it perfectly. Tokenization allows for, and I'm quoting here, fractional ownership, increased liquidity, and more efficient management. It's not just a small change. It's a fundamental rewiring of how we think about and get access to value itself. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one thought. We've seen stocks, gold, real estate, all of it moving on-chain. But if literally anything of value can be turned into a tradable, accessible token, what comes next? A piece of your favorite sports team? The rights to a classic movie? A plot of land on the moon? I mean, the possibilities are just endless. It really makes you wonder, what will you own next?